Good morning and happy Sunday! It's the Speaker's Corner. You got two speakers here today, both of us excited, exhilarated, and ready to speak at this corner. This corner is Jeff Wheeler. And in that corner, we've got Thom Holmes. Say good morning!
Good morning!
Okay, that was exciting. I think everybody missed you punching the air. Can you punch the air again?
I will punch the air as hard as I can with
Oh!
the force of my fist.
Oh! Can we do fist bumps and pumps? Wait, I gotta get on the camera. Boom! 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 All right, we got a little fist pump action this morning, and we are ready to speak about awesome things that have happened in the world. Too bad we haven't thought up any awesome things, but we'll make whatever it is that we talk about awesome. How about that?
Right, because the first one's going to segue. I just got an email from a viewer.
Oh, yeah?
Actually, I'm sorry, that was actually a takedown notice. Apparently,
Oh.
Van Halen violated apparently FCC regulations. So this has been the shortest show we've done. It's been great to see you. You don't have to think like me.
You don't have to think like me.
But we asked, we'll do that later.
Yeah, we'll do that later.
So the FCC. There's been this whole net neutrality thing, which, as I think John Oliver, who we'll talk about in a second, basically brilliantly coined, and I hope it becomes a new way of talking about it. It's not net neutrality so much as this cable company fuckery.
Cable company fuckery.
And that would get people more excited and more interested in this subject.
Yep, because you can't say that on television. You can't say cable company fuckery on television.
Even though you want to.
Even though you want to. Because that's one of the 7 deadly words. What is it that George Carlin said? The 7 deadly words to say that you can never say on television. Shit, fuck, goddamn son of a bitch, motherfucker.
And I just got another email from the Apparently my internet will be shut off shortly.
Well, you know what happens. Yeah. So, speaking on that, the FCC, as they do anytime they come up with a policy or a rule, then posts on a public forum that you can comment on these rules for a certain given length of time, generally 120 days, on any ruling that the FCC has. So recently there were some rules which were referred to by those in the know as net neutrality, and that's really a boring way to say cable company fuckery. So then there was an what was he on, the Colbert Report?
The Daily Show.
The Daily Show. He used to be on The Daily Show and has spun off onto its own HBO series on Sunday nights. John Oliver, who had a brilliant diatribe that Thom will explain.
Brilliant diatribe where basically it's 13 minutes long. It's totally worth going and watching. You can find it on the YouTube or the Hulu, I imagine.
Right. I don't think it'll be on Hulu.
No, well, then the YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, because it's HBO. Yeah. Not fans of the Hulu. So anyway, really what it kind of boiled down to, first off, he went through kind of explaining why this is important and why this is, this whole fast lane, slow lane, explaining why this is truly just the further extension of what already is a telecommunications monopoly. Not even a duopoly. It's just a straight-up monopoly or cartel. There's a telecommunication, especially when it comes to bandwidth in this country, that's really being run like a cartel. And so at the end, he invited all the trolls, all the commentators, all the nasty people of the internet to
called them out by name. Called them out by name.
Some of them out even by name, using their handles, saying, ending with "Fly, my pretties, fly," sending them to the FCC site to comment on the net neutrality / cable company fuckery. And what was the result? The servers crashed.
Oh, did they?
Crashed hard, they did. Which is just lovely because I think maybe that'll be a wake-up call, but also I think it's lovely in that if you have that volume of people, suddenly NPR is talking about it again, getting people to kind of go, wait, what is this? Why does this affect me? Why are people upset? It's like the classic refrain: "If you aren't angry, you aren't paying attention."
Uh-huh.
And I think if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. Because
so you're trying to say that you should pay attention?
I think you should pay attention.
As an audience of this show, we'd expect you to pay attention.
I fully expect and believe that you all pay attention.
That's right. And I have faith in all of our audience members to at least comment some way in their own way of thinking.
I've got nothing but love for you, baby.
That's right. So they crashed the servers because too many people tried to troll, or do you think that people tried to give meaningful comment?
Both. I think even the people trolling, I think that's an act of making a comment. I think, even the
It shows that they care.
It shows that they care. I mean, are there some people that just, are doing it for the lols?
Right.
Certainly, absolutely. But I think probably more than most are doing it because they fully believe that this is not only stupid but wrongful.
Right.
And I salute them.
I salute you.
Go forward.
My internet trolls, I salute you. Go forth and multiply. So I think that's a good proof of the fact that the FCC is not used to the way that the internet treats its comments. And so now that this will open up the floodgates to the comments on the FCC, which were designed around the concept of people would write strongly worded letters authored by their secretaries, was what that whole policy was designed around. And now that it's available to be done on the internet, it's going to be a whole nother level of compliance for them to be able to read and understand these comments. Because now, think about how much tax dollars is going to have to be utilized to collate and to condense this information to be able to utilize it in any kind of meaningful manner. Assume that 50% or assume that 5% of these comments are valid people giving real mindful responses to this, and now there's 100,000 5-page documents that you have to collate, create into a report, and do that. And how many man hours is that? How much of our tax dollars is spent on that? That's a significant amount.
It's a significant amount, but I hope they do.
I hope they do too.
To what the people are saying.
I hope they do too.
And I know that you'll appreciate this. I totally agree with it. Nothing makes my heart grow darker or make me sadder than when I see a member of the House or the Senate talking about a technical issue.
It pains me so bad.
Seeing Senator X or Representative Y talking about a technological issue because
they're just so ignorant.
Yeah.
And they benefit by being ignorant. They benefit in that world by being ignorant. The word is that George W. Bush never once read, responded, or wrote an email in office.
Fascinating.
Never once. Just that's the way that people communicated in the rest of the world, but he never once did that. Everything that came in via email got printed out and put onto his desk as a printout. And it's just so backwards to the way that our economy has flourished that it just doesn't seem apropos. It doesn't seem like it is it coincides with the society that they're supposed to be the leader and ruler of.
I started reading yesterday. I was having a conversation with a friend regarding not politics but political systems. I think it was kind of how to self-identify, whatever, and I kind of mentioned I seem to, depending on the topic at hand, my political allegiance or just my political philosophy could be all over the place. And so one of the things that it spurred me to think of, and I hadn't looked up yet a long time, was technocracy. And technocracy is the idea. It's kind of I don't want to say a utopian form of government, but it's an idea of government where the certain responsibilities of government, rather than being run by politicians who come from, say, the business or legal world, is really run by people who are involved in that direct industry. So, your economic policy would be created by economists. Your Department of Transportation would be run by people who work in transportation, and so on and so forth. So imagine, all the way to, like, I guess, with net neutrality, you could have a cabinet set up that had maybe people from the telecommunications industry, but also people from Could have a few startups, also some Google representation and Apple, really sitting down to kind of hammer out what is the most effective way.
Now there have been boards, and whenever I read the Steve Jobs book, there was a point where he mentioned that that Steve sat down in a couple of those rooms over history to speak with the highest leaders. And not that long ago, the guy that used to be for Google with the glasses, Eric Schmidt, sat down with most of the leaders of each one of those major tech firms at basically like a dinner where they just sat down and went, all right, how are we going to figure out how to make this work, kind of thing, which is great. I think that that's a great way to do things. And speaking on getting everyone together, the internet has some word on it that they will be starting a new Cold War. So the new Cold War in the internet world is the one where the large tech companies who make lots of money, not just from the U.S. and the U.S. customers, but from international customers, are starting an arms race, a Cold War against the NSA and its spying techniques. So they're trying to make it more and more expensive for the NSA to decrypt messages that are going back and forth. One such technology that is used for this is perfect forward secrecy. So perfect forward secrecy is able to then share secrets in highly encrypted manners so that they can then use that perfect forward secrecy to pass messages so that it takes phenomenal amounts of computing to decrypt those messages. Not that the NSA cannot do that, but each one of the messages has its own piece of high security on each one of those packets that's going across, and it would take lots of money for them to do it.
Look into the archives, but I think you mentioned this once before, maybe months ago, where you talked about, where you suggested to our viewers to really basically, if you aren't already encrypting your email, to go ahead, so that you're basically flooding the, I'm trying to think of, I'm reaching for a metaphor, basically. Screw the metaphor. You're just flooding the traffic with packets of encrypted data, so that not that you are doing anything illicit, but that suddenly it's harder. Suddenly that haystack becomes all the more.
That's
large.
Exactly right. You're creating another hay straw in the haystack, and the larger the haystack becomes, the harder it is for the NSA to find the needle in the haystack. So one thing that we can all do to increase the security of those doing secure communications is to increase our traffic of secure communications. So therefore, the NSA has to go through and do more work to create or to find anything that they have to decrypt. Because as is right now, less than 0.1% of the traffic on the internet has any kind of meaningful encryption on it, and therefore it is pretty easy for them to go, okay, well, we only have to go through 2 terabytes a day of encrypted traffic, and then we can have all of it at our disposal. And the more you create those obfuscation techniques and these other kinds of things, the more you can support those who do need that level of anonymity.
So definitely, we'll put in the show notes how we can start to do. What was it that you said? You said pure. What was the
PGP?
PGP.
Yep.
Oh, was that what it was? PGP.
PGP is an encryption technique that does it pretty good.
You said
perfect forward secrecy.
Perfect forward secrecy.
So perfect forward secrecy is the concept that each one of the servers, instead of talking to each other in normal language, they do an encryption method that means that it is perfectly secret going out each direction, right? So the server does not actually know where it's sending the information. So therefore, if they were to ask Google to say, who was it that searched for nuclear weapons? Well, they go, well, we don't keep that information because we send that using perfect forward secrecy, so we don't know where the end result is. We just know that there was an anonymous request from someplace out on the internet, and we gave that back out.
It was Chekhov.
It was. It always
looking
is.
for the nuclear vessels.
The nuclear vessels. All right, on to the next.
Yeah. The house likes weed.
Did I put that on there? I don't think I put that on there.
No, but I watched as it creeped up in the. We have a
new speaker in the corner, in the third corner.
Hi guys. Yes, in the third corner.
Hi Michelle, aka Ziggy.
AKA. So yeah, I said it originally that I was going to be behind the scenes on this one, but I remembered because we like to give updates about the fight against the Wacky Tobacco, or the fight for Wacky Tobacco, depending on which side.
Left-handed cigarettes, if you will.
Oh, there you go. Any others? No? Okay. So the House has actually passed a legislation, a bill, I believe, that says it would limit federal government's ability to enforce federal marijuana laws. It's passed the House. It's now going to the
That's
Senate.
Interesting.
Yes.
It would limit the federal government's ability to.
Yes, so they can no longer raid dispensaries. They cannot get involved in the state law. So basically it's separating out state law, federal law. You know the big thing this whole United States is
rights.
about. Yeah. So states' rights. It's actually putting a nice seal on that and saying, yes, you California, you Colorado. I can't think of any others.
Oregon?
Washington State. Thank you, guys. Hopefully,
New York?
Washington, D.C.
Not New York yet.
Not New York yet. Not Florida yet. But all of you states can say that your citizens are able to become potheads legally.
I think Jeff just ran to a dispensary.
Yeah, because he won't get arrested now, hopefully.
Yeah. There's two things that just kind of popped into my head after this. One thing was I did read about there has been a little bit of a black lining to the silver cloud. I'm going to flip the metaphor in Colorado, which has been some people, going crazy, and I think mostly it's because suddenly you introduce. First off, I'm sorry, the whole pot candy thing. Why can't you just smoke it, or maybe have a brownie? Why you gotta do lollipops or gummy bears or?
Wait a minute, that's actually I want to go into that business. So yeah, I want to do lollipops and gummy bears.
No, here's the problem with lollipops and gummy bear, because you have Joe Schmo off the street who's never really, maybe he smoked 10, 15 years ago in college, but hasn't done it since, and then suddenly it's legal, goes in his dispensary and is like, oh wow, I could smoke it, or I could eat this bag of gummy bears.
Jesus.
I'm gonna go with the gummy bears because then it doesn't smell like car. My wife is gonna. Next thing you know, he's freaking out. He's lost his mind because he went through half the bag. I mean, a dude shot his wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Causation, correlation.
Correlation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correlation.
It is correlation.
So we're both in agreement. It's correlation. We don't necessarily know, but agreed.
Well, I'm just
there's
saying,
something there.
I'm just saying, and there's been a rash of the kids, finding the bag of gummy bears and eating it.
I'm okay
And
with
this is
kids
where I'm
having that. Especially if it's a medical reason.
No, not the kid. Kid finding dad's bag of gummy bears.
Okay.
Thinking that they're gummy bears and they're 6 and getting high as a kite.
That's how they get high as fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a little different.
Because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Because also they've had pets and dogs. They've had a big problem with children and pets, not pets and dogs. That's children and pets getting into the candy, and that's where I'm like, can we just go back to basics, man?
Oh man, that disappoints me. Now my whole business model is going to be shut down.
Maybe you need to have you need to have a license to buy. You need. It's like we'll get a punch card. It'll be like the Starbucks punch card.
No, it's like the liqueur candy.
After
you can't buy that.
No.
Not until you're 18.
Well, that makes sense. Well, I'm saying even with the liqueur candy, you have to have successfully had 10 cocktails before then you can start eating tequila balls or something.
Right.
So I say before you can get the THC lollipops, you have to get your card punched 10 times that you've smoked just some straight up ounces, so that you're starting to understand how it feels, what it's supposed to do to you, when is enough and enough, and then you can start eating the crazy shit.
You and your rules, okay?
The
I'm not
lollipops are
down
not
with
the
this
gateway.
rules. I'm not down with this rules thing that you keep working
Tom
on.
is trying to
just
keep the
throwing it
kids
up.
and the pets safe. That's what he's trying to do.
I'm just thinking about the
I
kid,
guess.
man.
Can you imagine Fido and how high he's going to be whenever he has the brownies? The chocolate's bad enough for him, but yet whenever it's magic chocolate, then he gets
God.
really, really out there.
I guess it's what I look at some of these lollipop and gummy bears things is the equivalent of you go out to the bar, Jeff orders a scotch, I order a bourbon neat, and then Frank orders a
June bug.
Something that's like 16 different things. It tastes like candy, and we're like, what? Really? Come on, man. It's like
Poor Frank's not here to defend himself. He
Oh.
might
That is
order
true.
a Cosmo. Who knows?
what is a June bug anyway? I don't know what that is. That sounds like
June bug is like all kinds of fruit juices and like Midori and all kinds of licorice. Not really licorice, but it's all like fruity liquors.
Case in point. Remember, I was about to call you Frank. Remember Jeff back in the day when we lived together, and you would make the
This
punch.
sounds kind of homoerotic.
Whenever we have a conversation, there's always a slight undertone.
Go on.
There is. Go on. Go on. Rawr.
Get fierce for me, Jeff.
Oh God! So back when we were living together, and I had a party. Are you talking about the party with the mudslides?
No.
The
It's
party?
The hunch punch that
No,
you
the
make,
mini
where you
part.
basically
Hunch
Jeff would make the most magical hunch punch, which was
It's beautiful.
predominantly just all grain alcohol. He would
Yep.
cut fresh fruit, let it soak for basically the morning, right?
Yeah, but it was about the making the simple syrup was the magic. Believe it or not, it was the cooking the sugar into the water before you throw it into the 10-gallon bucket was really the magic sauce.
The thing
what
about
did it.
Hunch
The
Punch
end
is you
result
could
was-
drink so many cups and you just not know that you
Until-
are 2 sheets to the way.
Yeah, and that's where I remember Jeff having, we'd have, the young. I know there's probably a statute of limitations, so we're okay to say there were underage people. There were people who may have not yet reached 21.
Yeah, but we're making over 18 adult decisions.
Yeah. So we would sometimes have to warn someone because we'd see them gun through their first cup and going, you're like, "Da-da-da-da-da-da. Why don't you pace yourself and see how you feel?" And so sometimes we'd get
It's the good buddy system, you know. You got to have a buddy
talk back
system.
where people are like, "There's nothing in this, whatever." And I'm like, no. So this is why I say with the gummy bears and the lollipops is I think you have some of those underclassmen sort of who go in there.
Nice
Again,
comparison.
it's been 10, 15 years since they smoked, so they aren't. Fucking Maureen Dowd, or whatever her name, the New York Times, she had a complete flip out because she admitted she had like half the cake or the brownie or whatever. She didn't feel like anything was going on, so she proceeded to finish everything, and then went.
It's a
all
slow
crazy.
process when you eat it versus when you smoke it, folks.
Right. Right.
That's where I think you need a card system so that people have learned how.
Yeah, but to a certain extent, how many disclaimers do you need to put on this stuff?
It's also young.
Do you need to put
Education will help.
this coffee is hot on every cup of coffee kind of thing?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Do you have to put a label on every campfire that says "Caution: Campfire may burn you"?
Absolutely.
Do you need to
Yes. I don't know what you're gonna say, but yes.
do you need to put a label on the gas cap of every car that says "Please do not drink toxic"?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
Do you have to
this
put a
show
label on
needs a
every
label.
McDonald's hamburger that says "May contain fat and make you huge"?
Yes.
That I think we can all agree probably
Yes.
to be doing.
That would actually, I might agree to.
Speaking of McDonald's, did you see those horses running this weekend?
I don't know
That's
what
a
you're
bad
talking about.
beef joke. That's actually going to make me a segue. One thing, I remember there was a friend, high school classmate of mine, who posted a blog post, which I had to quickly search because it was like, I think this is old, and it was over a year old. And it was about when Taco Bell was among some of the meat recipients who had to kind of, not shut down, but had to like stop serving some things because there was trace elements of horse in the tacos.
Okay.
Yes.
I wanted to write, I'm like, because the four-legged animal named horse is so different than the four-legged animal named cow. Get over it. The moment you
Exactly.
start eating one four-legged thing, everything is on the table. That's why I'm like, I don't. When people get freaked about, like, oh my god, they eat dogs in Korea. Shut the fuck up.
That's right. They eat
It could
things
be
in places.
flipping delicious. I don't know yet. I have to
It
try it
could
out.
be.
And when
That's
I try
right.
it out, if it's disgusting, then I'll say people are
And
fucking crazy in
and
Korea.
they eating poodles. That's also, I think people have this idea that they're eating poodles or they're eating fluffy. No, they're breeding dogs of a certain variety and eating that. Come on.
Just like we
It's
do
a
with
challenge.
our cows and yeah,
That's
Get over
right.
it.
exactly.
Sure, dogs
But
are delicious. But to the matter at hand, not eating bovine or running animals. Did anyone watch the Belmont Stakes yesterday?
No.
No, I did.
What is the Belmont Stakes?
It's the third leg of the Triple Crown.
Okay. I thought there were 4 legs on horses.
3.
is the Triple Crown
Ah.
relevant to the United States, or is it? I mean, you watched it.
I watch it. Lots
Yes.
of people watch it. It was a packed
I
house
guess.
yesterday. because
Was it
of the
packed
potential
house?
For a Triple Crown. There has not been a Triple Crown since 1978 and affirmed.
Wow.
Triple Crown is winning all 3 races with the horse. So it's the Kentucky
Oh.
Derby, the Preakness, and then the Belmont Stakes.
Okay.
Kentucky Derby kind of being
The hardest.
the big. Well, it's the first one. It's the big one. It's
Right.
the one that has the hats and the pageantry, and usually
the
by
drink,
the
right?
time- And the drink, yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. The mint julep served in a silver cup, or tin cup, excuse me. Silver
It does
cup.
add a taste to it when you serve it in
Yeah.
those metal cups.
So there was yet again. This is probably, I think, in my lifetime, I've had one. Obviously, I was 2 months old, 3 months old the last time there was a Triple Crown winner.
Mm-hmm.
Morbidly, I've been convinced I came in with a Triple Crown. I'm going to go out with a Triple Crown. So every time there isn't one, I'm like, yaha! I get to live another year. I really hope I
Reset the 1-year clock. I'm gonna make it.
So there was a little bit of, since I guess no one watched it or no one really cares, I can't get into the kind of nuanced conversation of
Yep.
will there be another Triple Crown winner.
Yeah.
So I will just
To say that it's rare, and there is a real possibility that in today's modern horse breeding society, it's hard to create
Yeah.
some overwhelming power in the horse
Yeah.
racing industry.
Absolutely.
Is
And
that
every
a
horse-
pretty good synopsis?
That was, yeah, because part of the, not controversy, but like the loser, the guy who, California Chrome, had won the first 2 races and then lost in the final. And the winner of the Belmont was a horse that did not run in the other 2 races. And so his big beef was, beef, of course, was that it's hard for a horse to win 3 races when they could potentially be competing in the 3rd race with horses that are fresh. Haven't had to run that.
Because the horse had not run anything.
To
hadn't
require
run
them to do
anything.
all 3?
That was his kind of, so that's why I say there will be no Triple Crown winner unless they change the rules.
Yeah, but
make it
is it fair to have a rule that you have to run all 3
No, and
races?
it totally changes the dynamics of, because these are individual races. They just have
Right.
to be kind of like the winner gets this kind of title of a Triple Crown.
Right.
So the importance of the purse is, no, I'm in New York. I want the Belmont.
Right.
I'll be with whatever. Although
Right.
having the potential of a Triple Crown means more ticket sales, more gambling receipts.
Right.
More
Right.
people show up. Like I've always wanted to go, but the last time I think we thought about going, it ended up being a Triple Crown potential, and so packed to the gills with people.
Yeah.
Got it.
Horse racing,
Cool.
it's brutal, it's disgusting. Sometimes they have to put them down, and yet I still find it fascinating.
Yeah, but
Still exists.
don't they breed them to basically be useless as horses?
They are just muscle on little twig animals.
Twigs.
It's really,
Right.
You look at them and they're a little bit scary.
Can you say
Yeah.
the same
Well,
thing
they're
about
freaks, just
greyhounds?
like what we do to our football players.
Interesting point. Yeah, football.
You know?
Eventually, you're going to start seeing fatalities on the field more and more. Because
Right, because they've got tiny little ankles.
we are increasing the speed of the game, the size of the people. I mean, you look at Hall of Famers from 20 years ago and how fast they could run and hit, and then you look at the standard player and how fast he can run and hit, and it's a little scary. You got linebackers who are, over 200
Faster than
pounds,
running backs used
and
to
they're
be.
running. Yeah, they're running faster than the running backs could, or the wide receivers could 20
Right.
years ago.
Right. Right.
It's
And you look at what they were looking for. They were looking for general athletes in the 1920s and 40s and stuff like that, right? They were looking for the well-rounded, 6-foot-tall guy that has a decent build, that he's both athletic, so he's quick, and he's fairly strong and really, really tough. And that was the guy that they were looking for the All-American, right? Nowadays, they're looking for a particular type of body type to be a lineman, and a particular type of body type to be a running back, and a particular type to be whatever, you know? And that creates this bigger dichotomy in...
I had to look up the name, Jim Thorpe.
Right.
That was who they were looking for.
The All-American. The quintessential All-American.
Jim Thorpe was a man.
So should we go on to the Asshat?
Greatest Native American athlete of all time, possibly the greatest, just straight up American athlete of all time.
Was Jim Thorpe?
Jim Thorpe. He played everything, and excelled at everything.
Well, that was in a different time frame.
Yeah, but he was that. I am physically set to do anything and everything.
Yeah.
You know, man, what a beast, Jim Thorpe.
So who's the Asshat this week?
Ah, my Asshat. This guy, you may have heard of him. I need to make sure I put his name. Scott Fistler, or the politician formerly known as Scott Fistler. Scott Fistler, he ran twice. He's out of Arizona. He ran twice unsuccessfully for local office. I think once for the Arizona State House, and then for the Phoenix City Council. Lost both times.
Uh-huh.
So what do you do when you're a politician and you're struggling?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first thing is he switched parties. He changed his party from GOP to Democrat.
Okay.
Okay. Then he did something even more interesting. He legally changed his name.
What?
What did he change his name to?
Price
Cesar
Fister.
Chavez.
Caesar Chavez? What?
Yeah.
It should have been Jim Thorpe.
Oh my god.
So he's running in the primary in Arizona in a predominantly 70% Hispanic district.
As
And
Caesar
he changed-
Chavez.
As Cesar Chavez. And for those of you who don't know who Cesar Chavez is, Cesar Chavez was a famous labor leader for the farm workers. He started the United Farm Workers lobby, and hero of labor, hero of the Hispanic Americans. He's Cesar Chavez, not Scott Fistler, who
Probably not very Latino.
No.
Scott Fistler. Nope, does not sound that way.
I don't even say that's balls. That's just wow. Because it's also it's kind of insulting, and his idea was, well, you know, I'm running in a primary against 5 other people, and I'm having trouble with name recognition, and so you change your name to Cesar Chavez.
Something that people automatically recognize.
Yeah, even though
I think I'm going to change my name to Arnold Schwarzenegger and run for political office.
Yeah, so Scott
I'll be
Slater,
Betsy Ross.
a.k.a. Cesar Chavez. Dude, you're an asshat.
Yes.
Total
that is
asshat.
exactly and precisely correct.
Definition of it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
All right. So we have an
go to the
asshat.
invention of the week.
Oh, the
Yeah.
invention of the week. Okay, so this invention came out of the war, as a lot of our inventions tend to do.
The war, okay?
The
War of
the
1812.
big war, the war,
Great War?
the Great War.
Oh, the Great War. So the Cold War. Got it.
Yeah. World War II.
Oh, the Great War is World
So there was
War
no.
I.
Yeah, the
I
Great
know,
War
I
is
know,
World
I know.
War
Okay.
I was
I.
going to
You're-
correct you.
you're
I was
playing
going to
along
correct
with
you.
us,
Yes. Okay, so World War II, the Greatest Generations War.
The greatest, yeah.
Okay.
They had aboard the boats. They needed to find a way to stabilize things.
Mm-hmm.
So this engineer, Richard James of Greater Philadelphia, decided that he was going to create something that was going to help stabilize. But instead of actually stabilizing something, it became a classic toy. What is it?
Ooh.
Became a classic toy instead of
Gyroscope?
stabilizing things. Top.
Yeah.
A top.
No. So think of what do you have to do on a so a ship is moving, right?
Yes.
You have to have
That is
something
Moon
that
juice.
is going. that's going to move like this to keep
slinky.
it stabilized.
A slinky.
Yes, you got it. Brilliant, Jeff. Brilliant.
Slinky?
Yeah.
I thought that slinky was invented from. It was stripping down a pipe, and that was what the leftover was.
1943, an engineer, and this I've looked this over a couple times. Yeah. They exhibited this stores at Gimbel's department store. Sold 490 minutes because he watched it go down his stairs. And books. So there you go. That's the invention of the week. Yeah.
Had no idea.
Related to that, what other toy came from? What other classic American toy came from World War II?
I do know this, so I'm going to pass on that.
The hobby horse.
No.
How do you explain that one?
Silly putty.
Yeah, silly putty.
Oh yeah.
It was one of the failed attempts at synthesizing rubber after the Japanese occupied the Philippines, which was the U.S.'s major
source of rubber trees. Yeah.
So they needed to start working on synthesizing rubber, and one of the failed byproducts or failed attempts would become what we know as silly putty now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Classic toys. These are still toys I would have fun using today.
Which shows you another reason we go to war is for the kids.
Yeah.
No.
Although when people come home from war, they generally do create a lot of kids. All right,
True.
so is there anything that pisses you off currently, Thom?
Yeah, it's time for this week's things that pissed Thom off that probably shouldn't piss him off.
Is that the wolf T-shirts that people wear from time to time?
The wolf t-shirts?
Oh God.
What do you mean?
That was my
Like
my random thing of the day. That's really all.
Oh, that was
That
good.
was
good.
that was channeling Frank right there. Was really what I was doing.
Always in our
We miss you, Frank.
We do. We miss you. I wish you were here.
So the
Yeah.
thing that pissed me off, that probably shouldn't piss me off, was, and I just saw a friend had posted in some other news article. News agencies are picking it up, but NPR posted an article yesterday, I think, which was, and let me read you the title, and maybe we can put it up on the big screen. I'm a consummate professional, always ready. Okay. Sword fight. Should I share my screen?
Yes, please. Because
Do it.
So the first one I found is from Vice, but trust me, this was on NPR.
This is
which
on
is
NPR.
I saw this first on NPR. So, sword fight erupts at Sikh temple in India. I didn't even read the article. I just saw the picture. And so, why this pissed me off, and we won't even get into the reasons why, but let me turn off my screen share. Is it off again?
That guy's looking like he's
Why
smiling.
it pissed me off is that I looked at this and I was like, oh my god, even NPR is falling into the borderline meme of foreigners be crazy and do wild and wacky stuff.
Oh,
I
jeez.
was like, really? That pissed me off. And
Do they actually attack with swords each other and kill each other with this?
They were ceremonial
It
swords
looks
and
ceremonial.
staves. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was an argument.
Oh, so it was a staged war.
Well, it was
Yeah.
a fight that broke out at the shrine over who would be allowed to speak at a ceremony marking military operations that killed people in 1984. And so I guess the argument broke out, and they grabbed the ceremonial swords and staves and started just going at each other.
Wow.
But it just, for NPR to randomly put up this picture of, look, they got turbans and they be going crazy and wacky. I thought it was a little bit. Increasingly, I feel like I've seen NPR, and also The Economist now is starting to fall into the clickbait trap.
Really?
Yeah, their Facebook page is starting to piss me off because they're starting to do that. You won't believe what, or I'm like, why you gotta upworthy me, NPR?
That's so sad.
Why you gotta upworthy me? Michelle knows what I'm going for.
Yeah.
I still go to Upworthy. When I link to something that Upworthy has shown me, I never link to Upworthy. I link to something else that is.
What really ticks me off about the Upworthy is, can I just read about it? I don't want to watch a video. I really just I'm not one of those visual people. It's like I just want to read something. I don't want to
Just give me the words. That's really all I care about.
Emotional assault video when I'd rather read. What are you trying to tell me?
Good point.
It's just me.
Good point.
So it probably shouldn't piss me off, but it does.
Well, that's excellent. I guess that was our outro music?
No, this is your random country.
Oh, do we have one?
I do.
Was it submitted from a former podcaster?
No, I'm doing it in his honor.
Oh, to honor.
Oh, but he's not a former podcaster.
All right.
Oh.
Just last week.
Right on. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off now.
Oh.
And I'm going to talk to you about this. It's a republic. And it is in Europe, crossroads of Central and Southeast Europe. It borders Albania.
Latvia.
Continue. Is it Macedonia? No, we've heard of Macedonia.
And Croatia and Bosnia.
Montenegro.
Belgrade is the capital.
Serbia.
Yes. Bravo.
Should have said Republic of Serbia, yeah. Which has sadly been in the news a lot recently because of the horrible flooding that's going on in the Balkans.
Oh.
Which is not getting any coverage. That's also, they've been kind of pissed at.
It got coverage on this here podcast.
It got coverage on
right here.
Absolutely.
That's right, because we think of the entire world, not just the little corner that you live in. That's what this kind of Speaker's Corner is all about.
That's right.
You see what I did there? I know. Just, you should clap on your chest. I guess that's a thing now.
It's now a thing.
It's now a thing. Well, I appreciate everyone here joining us for the week. I want to thank you all for bringing your own corner to this world and spending your time with us thinking about the way that the world should be. You don't have to necessarily think like I do.
You don't necessarily have to think like I do.
You don't have to necessarily think like John Oliver, and you don't have to necessarily think that you're going to win the Triple Crown, or that you're going to win anything by being named Cesar Chavez, or that you're going to actually invent something to stabilize things in boats. But we do ask, and you don't have to think like me.
Right.
Sorry.
But we do ask that you think on your own and of your own volition. And we'll see you again next week when you do a few of those thinking things with us here on the Speaker's Corner. Longing so. Oh, wait. Is it so long? Or longing so? I long so. Long so.
Until next week.